Welcome back. Blessed with natural resources such as timber, diamonds and gold, but cursed with violence, cursed with instability and poverty, the DRC is currently on the brink of a civil war, mainly triggered by the refusal of President Joseph Kabila to step down when his term of office ended last December. This has also led to many people losing their lives during violent protests against Kabila's refusal to leave office. And to tell us more about this, we are joined in studio by Richard Chelin, the project coordinator at the Good Governance Africa. A very good morning to you, Richard. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Now, the DRC is currently a very fragile state due to the current conflicts. What does this mean for the country and its people?
Well, we have to look back at a country which has a previous history of civil wars. We know it's also been that the greatest civil war to happen in the country and on the continent. It was even dubbed African World War, and it had always had a very fragile, a state fragility. However, there has been some form of stability from the time that Joseph Kabila became president from 2006 and his second term in 2011. And it's towards the end of his second term that we've seen a renewed clash of conflict and protests, which led to security forces cracking down on protesters and resulting in a lot of casualties and fatalities. And this is when, that was last year, began in January 2015, when the government wanted to pass an electoral law which according to the opposition, would see Joseph Kabila remaining in power for longer than his mandated term. And that's led to protests, which eventually led to deadly clashes.
Do you think the current state of affairs could lead to the return of the country's protracted civil war that back between 1994 and 2003, which saw over 5 million people losing their lives?
That was a major concern, and still is the major concern for many, for the UN, for the African Union, and for political commentators and scholars, that if this situation is not resolved, and if there's no brokered talks or peace agreements, if a solution is not found, and this could be most likely the result of a recurring civil war in the DRC.
Now, earlier, we saw a deal being struck by political parties in the DRC for President Joseph Kabila to step down at the end of 2017. Could we see a possible peaceful transfer of power?
Well, the deal itself was brokered. It was launched by the Catholic bishops on December the 8th. And it took over a month for it for the opposition members and the government to come to a deal, which was brokered on the 31st of December. According to the deal itself, the political accord, it states that Kabila will not run for a third term, and that the government will not change the constitution by any form, either by referendum or public vote. And that in 3 months' time there should be a national unity government headed by former opposition leader Etienne Tshisekedi. So, referring back to what you say, like, will Kabila step down? It still remains to be seen, as he still needs to sign, his signature still to be laid on the political accord. Sure. So in such time we await and hope that that he does come to the party and sign the deal.
What are some of his reasons of clinging on to power? Why doesn't he step down?
Well, he hasn't been quite clear in the reason given, but according to the Constitutional Court, that the voters' roll, that was the major contention that led to the protest in the first place, was that the voters' roll has not been updated since the last census, which was in 1984. Therefore, in order to have credible elections, they need to be updated, and that would take about 3 or 4 years to be updated. And it was meant to start in 2015, but by 2016 there has been no progress on it, and hence opposition members see this as a move on the government and Kabila's part as an excuse to remain in power and to maintain power, and hence this is where that conflict started, where the protests and the likes.
Now, Richard, indulges on the probability or the likelihood of organizing the presidential, legislative and provincial elections together by the end of 2017.
Well, looking at it, it's quite the DRC will have to rely on foreign aid to pull that, and they have been promised aid. As a former, as the ambassador of the Congo mentioned a few weeks ago, that they have been promised aid to organize elections. However, the money has not arrived as yet. So that there's a financial constraint, and there are also logistical constraints. However, it might sound a bit ambitious to have it by the end of 2017, but if all parties come if all parties agree to the deal, and you have backing of international communities as well, and if there is a great effort by other regions and the likes, there should be progress on that front.
Does the capacity, though, does the country have the capacity to self-fund its elections?
No.
Given that it is mineral rich?
It is mineral rich, but however, the country does not benefit from the benefits of the natural resources, and as the natural resources have led to many, the curse thesis of cursed resources that led to many conflicts due to natural resources.
But then who gets to benefit from these resources?
Well, there are major players in those who are involved in it, and companies and the likes, and some government officials as well. But however, this it's still under investigation and the likes. So, going back to what you asked, no, it's not fun. Cannot self-fund an election on its own.
All right, Richard, great chatting to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
There is Richard Chelin, the project coordinator at the Good Governance Africa, just giving us an overview about the current situation in the DRC. And Morning Live will take a break, and we'll be back with more after this.